What if I told you the vacuum of space isn't empty at all? That within what appears to be nothingness, there's a hidden ocean of energy so vast it could power entire civilizations. This isn't science fiction, it's one of the most mind-bending truths of quantum physics, a phenomenon called zero-point energy. Picture this, even at absolute zero, when all motion should cease, the universe still hums with an invisible vibration. Particles flicker in and out of existence like cosmic fireflies, proving that emptiness itself is teeming with potential. Ancient mystics sensed this secret power of the void, calling it the breath of creation, while modern science quantifies it as fluctuations in the quantum field. Both paths point to the same astonishing reality. We're surrounded by an infinite wellspring of energy most never learned to tap into. For centuries, esoteric traditions have whispered about harnessing the hidden forces of the cosmos. Alchemists sought it in their quest to transform matter. Mystics channeled it through sacred rituals, and occult practitioners believed it flowed through the very fabric of reality. Today, we recognize these intuitions as glimpses of zero-point energy, the unshakable pulse of existence itself. Think about that for a moment. Every inch of space around you, even the air between your hands, contains more energy than all the stars we can see. The implications are staggering. What if the ancients weren't just spinning myths, but describing advanced physics in symbolic language? What if their meditations and ceremonies were early experiments in accessing this boundless power? This journey will unravel those connections, bridging cutting-edge science with forgotten wisdom. We'll explore how quantum fluctuations mirror ancient concepts of prana, chi, and the astral light, all pointing to the same fundamental truth. You'll discover why Nikola Tesla became obsessed with tapping this energy, how certain spiritual practices might accidentally interact with it, and what modern research reveals about our potential to harness it. But more than facts, this is an invitation to see reality differently. By the end, you won't just understand zero-point energy, you'll feel it, sense its presence in the stillness around you, and glimpse why both physicists and mystics agree. The universe is far more alive, more conscious, and more generous than we've been taught to believe. Scientists describe zero-point energy as the background hum of the universe, the residual energy that remains even when a quantum system is cooled to absolute zero, the coldest possible temperature where all classical motion should stop. At this point, particles don't just freeze in place, they continue to jitter with a faint but measurable vibration, like an invisible drumhead that never fully quiets. This isn't just theoretical, it's been proven through experiments like the Casimir effect, where two metal plates placed microscopically close in a vacuum experience an inexplicable force pushing them together, caused by the restless energy of the quantum field between them. Yet long before labs confirmed this phenomenon, spiritual traditions spoke of a similar force under different names: the Hindu concept of prana, the Taoist chi, the Hermetic Aether. Each describes an animating energy woven into the fabric of reality. Mystics didn't have quantum equations, but their meditative insights hinted at the same truth, that what looks like empty space is actually a living, dynamic medium. Picture an endless ocean where every drop is a flicker of potential, or a vast, silent symphony where even the pauses between notes vibrate with hidden music. This duality, hard science and ancient wisdom pointing to the same mystery, is what makes zero-point energy so fascinating. The difference lies in interpretation. Physics measures this energy in joules and electron volts, calculating how it might one day power quantum computers or warp drives. Esoteric traditions, though, perceive it as something more, a bridge between matter and consciousness, a force that responds to intention. Some even suggest that practices like focused meditation or ceremonial magic might subtly interact with this energy field, the way a skilled musician can draw unheard harmonies from a vibrating string. Whether you view it through the lens of equations or enlightenment, one thing remains undeniable: we're surrounded by an omnipresent energy most of us have barely begun to understand. The Heisenberg Uncertainty Principle shatters our classical understanding of reality, because at the quantum level, nothing ever truly rests. This fundamental law of physics states that we can never precisely measure both a particle's position and its momentum simultaneously. The more we pin down one, the more the other becomes uncertain, like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. But here's where it gets extraordinary. This uncertainty means empty space can never be perfectly still. Even in a vacuum, particles and their antiparticles spontaneously emerge from nothingness, dance for unimaginably brief moments, then vanish again, all within the blink of an eye. Scientists call these quantum fluctuations, and they're not rare occurrences. Every cubic centimeter of so-called empty space experiences billions upon billions of these particle pairs, flashing into existence every second, carrying with them measurable energy. This ceaseless cosmic activity forms the bedrock of zero-point energy. Imagine the vacuum as a bubbling cauldron where reality itself simmers with potential, where the distinction between something and nothing blurs into irrelevance. Ancient creation myths echo this very concept, from the Hindu Rigveda's description of the primordial chaos before existence to the Taoist notion of wuji, the undifferentiated void from which all polarity emerges. The Aboriginal Dreamtime stories speak of a formless potential waiting to be sung into being, while Kabbalistic texts describe the Ein Sof, the infinite nothingness that paradoxically contains everything. These aren't mere poetic metaphors. They're startlingly accurate intuitions about how reality operates at its most fundamental level. Quantum physics now confirms what mystics sensed millennia ago. Creation isn't a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Particles emerge not from some external source, but from the fabric of space-time itself, borrowing energy from the quantum field like temporary loans paid back upon annihilation. This relentless cycle mirrors spiritual traditions that describe reality as a continuous dance between being and non-being. The Tibetan Buddhist concept of sunyata, emptiness full of potential, or the alchemical principle of solve et coagula, dissolve and recombine. What science measures as energy fluctuations, esoteric traditions often interpreted as the breath of the divine, the pulse of consciousness weaving existence moment by moment. Both perspectives converge on a radical truth. What we perceive as stable, solid reality is actually a shimmering interplay of appearances and disappearances. Modern quantum field theory calculates that the energy contained in these fleeting particles within a single light bulb's volume could boil all Earth's oceans if we knew how to harness it. Similarly, advanced yogic texts speak of tapping into the Akasha, primordial space, to manifest seemingly impossible feats. Whether through superconducting cavities or sacred mantras, humanity's quest to access this omnipresent energy reveals our deep intuition that the universe is far more generous with its secrets than we've dared to believe. The only real difference between ancient and modern explorers is the language they use to describe the same breathtaking phenomenon, the ceaseless creativity at the heart of nothingness. Long before quantum physicists peered into the vacuum, ancient sages mapped this hidden energy through direct experience. In the swirling symbols of Hermeticism, we find the first echo, as above, so below, wasn't just poetic wisdom, but an observation of how cosmic energy mirrors itself across all scales. The Emerald Tablet described an one thing that permeated reality, a substance so subtle it could animate stars and stones alike. Alchemists spent lifetimes chasing this secret fire, not realizing they were documenting early encounters with what we now call zero-point energy fields. Half a world away, Taoist masters charted the flow of Kai with similar precision. Their meridian maps didn't depict blood vessels or nerves, but pathways of an invisible current, one that modern infrared imaging now shows as faint luminous trails along the exact routes described in 2,000-year-old texts. The Tao Te Ching speaks of the uncarved block, the primal state containing infinite potential, eerily mirroring today's quantum vacuum state, where particles wink in and out of existence. When Lao Tzu wrote, "The void is endlessly useful," was he describing the same phenomenon physicists now measure in nanoscale Casimir experiments? India's rishis took it further, quantifying prana's behavior in shocking detail. The Upanishads describe 5 vibrational frequencies of this universal energy, matching the 5 quantum field types we recognize today: electromagnetic, gravitational, and the strong and weak nuclear forces. Even more startling are the ancient Tamil Siddhar texts, which speak of harvesting ambient energy through resonant copper pyramids, a concept Tesla would later explore with his Wardenclyffe Tower. What unites these traditions is their insistence that this energy isn't just physical, it's conscious. The Hindu concept of Brahman, the Jewish Ein Sof, the Buddhist Dharmakaya, all describe an intelligent field that responds to human intention. Modern double-slit experiments show quantum particles behave differently when observed, as if aware they're being measured. The Hopi elders might nod knowingly. Their creation myths speak of a universe that literally dreamt itself into being through focused thought. The implications ripple through time. When Renaissance magicians like John Dee conjured angels, were they actually interfacing with coherent energy patterns in the quantum foam? Did Tibetan monks chanting in unison create standing waves in this primordial field? The line between mysticism and physics blurs when you realize both are describing the same reality, one through equations, the other through direct perception. Perhaps the most profound parallel lies in transformation. Alchemists sought to turn lead into gold, not as metallurgy, but as spiritual metaphor, showing how base consciousness could awaken to its luminous potential. Quantum physics reveals this isn't metaphor at all. At subatomic levels, particles constantly transform into one another through energy exchange. The philosopher's stone might have been less a substance and more a state of resonance, with zero-point energy's infinite creative flux. This convergence of ancient and modern understanding suggests we're not discovering zero-point energy so much as remembering it. From Egyptian priests anointing themselves as knowers of the cosmic rhythms, to contemporary scientists measuring vacuum fluctuations, the thread remains unbroken, an eternal dialogue between humanity and the hidden heartbeat of the void. The alchemist's quest for the philosopher's stone wasn't just about transforming metals. It was a coded journey to master the very fabric of reality. Hidden within their cryptic symbols and veiled manuscripts lay a startling truth. They were chasing what we now recognize as zero-point energy. Take the mysterious prima materia, the formless base substance alchemists believed permeated all creation. Descriptions of it mirror modern quantum field theory, an all-pervading medium that could condense into matter when properly activated. The stone itself was often depicted not as a physical object, but as a luminous energy, what Paracelsus called the celestial fire that could dissolve boundaries between spirit and matter. The parallels grow even clearer when examining alchemical operations. The famed solve et coagula process, dissolving and reconstituting matter uncannily, resembles how quantum particles spontaneously emerge from and return to the vacuum. Alchemists insisted this transformation required precise timing and celestial alignments, much like how modern physicists manipulate zero-point energy using resonant frequencies. The most advanced practitioners spoke of achieving the multiplication of the stone, where a small amount could amplify its effects exponentially, a concept eerily similar to coherent energy extraction from the quantum vacuum. Occult traditions took these ideas further with deliberate rituals to harness this universal force. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn developed elaborate ceremonies to tap what they termed the astral light, an invisible energy web connecting all things. Their lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram wasn't mere superstition. It functioned as a sophisticated energy mapping exercise, using geometric patterns to create standing waves in this subtle field. Aleister Crowley's documentation of astral currents and etheric doubles reads like an intuitive grasp of quantum entanglement, where distant particles remain mysteriously linked. Even the tools of these traditions reveal deep insights. The alchemist's crucible wasn't just a melting pot. It symbolized the containment field needed to stabilize volatile energies. The wand represented directed intention. The cup symbolized receptive observation, both crucial in quantum experiments, where the observer influences outcomes. When medieval texts speak of binding the volatile to the fixed, they might as well be describing how zero-point energy requires precise conditions to manifest detectably in our dimension. What makes these connections more than coincidence is the consistent methodology across cultures and eras. From Chinese Taoist alchemy to European Rosicrucian texts, we find the same emphasis on purification, alignment, and resonance as prerequisites for accessing this hidden energy. The alchemist's long years of meditation mirror today's quantum coherence requirements, where systems must be cooled near absolute zero to reduce thermal noise and reveal vacuum fluctuations. Both paths recognize that tapping primordial energy demands removing interference, whether spiritual or electromagnetic. The most compelling evidence lies in results. Historical accounts describe adepts achieving luminous phenomena, spontaneous healings, and materializations that defy conventional physics. While skeptics dismiss these as legend, contemporary vacuum energy research shows similar potential, from anomalous heat generation in cold fusion experiments to unexplained thrust in quantum vacuum plasma thrusters. The key difference: modern science uses titanium chambers and superconductors, where mystics used purified consciousness and ritual geometry. Yet both approaches suggest the same underlying principle: reality responds to those who learn its hidden rhythms. This convergence raises profound questions. Were alchemical texts actually encrypted quantum physics manuals? Did ceremonial magicians accidentally stumble upon field manipulation techniques? Whether through incense and invocations or lasers and cryogenics, humanity keeps circling back to one immutable truth: the universe hums with accessible power for those who learn to listen. The philosopher's stone may have always been less about gold and more about awakening to the infinite energy dancing just beneath the surface of perception. Nikola Tesla stood at the crossroads of science and the sublime, a man who saw energy where others saw only empty air. His later experiments border on the prophetic towers that pulled power from the atmosphere, devices that drew current without wires, all hinting at an intimate understanding of what we now call zero-point energy. When he spoke of harnessing the wheelwork of nature or tapping into ambient vibrations, he wasn't spinning metaphors. His Colorado Springs notes describe capturing terrestrial standing waves, energy patterns that modern quantum physicists recognize as macroscopic manifestations of vacuum fluctuations. Those infamous Warden Cliff Tower blueprints, they reveal a resonant system designed to couple with Earth's natural frequencies, essentially turning the planet into a conductor for background quantum energy. Yet Tesla's genius was tempered by esoteric influences most historians overlook. His fascination with Vedic cosmology and Pythagorean harmonics wasn't mere eccentricity. It informed his groundbreaking work. He practiced intense visualization techniques, claiming to operate his inventions mentally before building them, a method startlingly similar to quantum eraser experiments, showing intention affects physical outcomes. His obsession with the numbers 3, 6, and 9 mirrors sacred geometry principles found in ancient energy temples. This wasn't mysticism muddying science. It was a holistic approach, recognizing that consciousness and energy intertwine at fundamental levels. Modern zero-point energy researchers pore over Tesla's forgotten patents with new eyes. His apparatus for utilizing radiant energy from 1901 describes a device eerily similar to today's quantum energy harvesters, using specially treated plates to capture ambient vibrations. Where mainstream science dismissed his claims of wireless power transmission as fantasy, contemporary studies on quantum entanglement and non-local energy transfer suggest he might have been decades ahead. Even his cryptic mentions of scalar waves, long ridiculed by physicists, now find echoes in cutting-edge theories about longitudinal waves in the quantum vacuum. The myths surrounding Tesla warrant clarification. He never claimed to invent free energy in the perpetual motion sense, but rather sought to access what he called the abundant natural source. His famous Pierce Arrow car experiment, often cited as proof of zero-point energy extraction, likely drew power from high-frequency Earth currents, a phenomenon still not fully understood. The truth is more fascinating than fiction. Tesla wasn't building magic boxes, but developing sophisticated resonance technology to interface with the planet's innate energy systems. What makes Tesla's legacy vital today isn't just his technical brilliance, but his paradigm-shattering perspective. While his contemporaries saw energy as something to burn or mine, he recognized it as an ever-present field to harmonize with. His experiments with standing waves presaged modern Casimir effect research. His wireless transmission concepts mirror quantum tunneling phenomena. Most profoundly, he bridged the gap between ancient energy concepts and hard physics, demonstrating that Vedic Akasha and quantum foam might be two expressions of the same fundamental reality. The man who lit bulbs from afar and heard cosmic radio signals before inventing the receiver wasn't just an engineer. He was a modern alchemist, transmuting invisible vibrations into tangible power. The numbers don't add up, and that's putting it mildly. When physicists calculate how much energy should be bubbling in the quantum vacuum based on known laws, they arrive at a figure so enormous it defies comprehension. Take a single cubic centimeter of empty space. According to quantum field theory, the zero-point energy contained there should be enough to boil every ocean on Earth in an instant. Scale that up to the entire observable universe, and the discrepancy becomes downright absurd. The predicted vacuum energy exceeds all the energy in every star, galaxy, and cosmic particle combined by a factor of 10 to the power of 120. That's a 1 followed by 120 zeros, a number so large it has no name in mathematics. Yet when we measure the actual energy density of space through cosmological observations, the universe appears almost quiet. This staggering mismatch between prediction and reality is known as the vacuum catastrophe, and it's one of the most glaring unsolved problems in modern physics. What's causing this cosmic accounting error? Mainstream science offers several hypotheses, each more mind-bending than the last. Some theorists suggest our calculations are missing hidden dimensions, tiny, curled-up realms beyond the four we experience, where much of this energy might dissipate unseen. Others propose that exotic particles or undiscovered forces cancel out most of the vacuum's potential, like cosmic bookkeepers balancing an unseen ledger. Then there's the radical idea that multiple universes exist with different vacuum energies, and we simply occupy the rare one where the numbers allow galaxies and life to form. But here's where things get truly fascinating. These scientific explanations increasingly sound like echoes of esoteric cosmology. Ancient traditions from Kabbalah to Vedic philosophy have long described layered dimensions, hidden worlds, and parallel realities where energy flows differently. The Hindu concept of loka, multiple planes of existence, vibrating at different frequencies, uncannily mirrors modern string theory's brain-world hypothesis. Metaphysical thinkers take it further. They argue the vacuum catastrophe isn't just missing physics, but evidence of a conscious universe self-regulating its energy. In this view, the discrepancy arises because reality isn't inert. It responds to observation and intention, much like quantum particles change behavior when measured. Ancient alchemical texts speak of a living void that adapts to maintain equilibrium, while Taoist masters describe the Tao as self-correcting. Even mainstream quantum physics acknowledges the observer effect, where the act of measurement influences systems at microscopic scales. Could the vacuum catastrophe hint that this principle operates cosmically, that the universe actively suppresses its latent energy to preserve stability, like a thermostat adjusting an overheated room? The implications ripple through both labs and spiritual circles. For materialists, solving the vacuum catastrophe might require rewriting physics textbooks, perhaps unifying quantum mechanics and relativity at last. For mystics, it confirms their deepest intuitions that reality is far more malleable than classical science admits. Both perspectives converge on a humbling truth: we've barely scratched the surface of understanding the space we inhabit. Whether through particle accelerators or meditation, humanity's quest to resolve this enigma reveals something profound. The line between empty and alive might be the most important illusion we'll ever dismantle. Imagine if every thought, every event, every moment in history left an indelible mark on the fabric of reality itself, not as metaphor, but as literal vibrations etched into the quantum field. This is the heart of the Akashic records, an esoteric concept describing a cosmic library where all experiences are preserved as energetic imprints. Now consider zero-point energy, the ceaseless oscillation of particles at the smallest scales, and suddenly these two ideas collide in a way that challenges our understanding of memory and time. Quantum physics reveals that information can never truly be destroyed, only transformed. When combined with the Akashic principle, this suggests the vacuum isn't just humming with energy. It might also be humming with the echoes of everything that ever was. Think of the quantum vacuum as a vast holographic medium. Just as ripples move through water long after a stone has sunk, events could create interference patterns in the zero-point field that persist indefinitely. The Akashic tradition claims skilled seers can read these imprints, an idea that parallels modern experiments showing how quantum systems retain memory of previous interactions through entanglement. Physicist David Bohm's concept of the implicate order, a deeper reality where past and present coexist, resonates strikingly with descriptions of the Akashic records as a timeless dimension where all potentials exist simultaneously. The mechanics become even more fascinating when examining how information might physically store in this field. Certain quantum theories propose that spacetime itself has a pixelated structure at the Planck scale, with each pixel capable of holding data, much like the ones and zeros on a hard drive. The Akashic tradition describes records as living light, which aligns eerily with modern photonic memory research, where lasers store information in crystalline matrices. Even more compelling is the Casimir effect's demonstration of vacuum fluctuations. Could these rapid particle appearances and disappearances represent nature's way of writing and erasing data at unimaginable speeds? Occult texts offer a startlingly precise framework for this process. Theosophists like Annie Besant describe the Akasha as having stratified layers, with more recent events forming surface ripples, while ancient ones sink into deeper vibrational bands. This mirrors how scientists now model quantum decoherence, where information becomes increasingly entangled with its environment over time, sinking into the background noise of the vacuum. Edgar Case's readings spoke of accessing these records through specific resonant states, not unlike how quantum computers use carefully tuned frequencies to retrieve data from qubits. The implications stretch beyond theory into tangible phenomena. Near-death experiencers consistently report life reviews where every moment is relived with perfect clarity. Could this be an accidental tapping into personal Akashic imprints stored in the zero-point field? Synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that defy probability, might represent moments when our consciousness briefly aligns with these hidden information patterns. Even déjà vu takes on new significance as a glitch in the system, where present perception momentarily overlaps with stored quantum data. Skeptics dismiss the Akashic records as mystical fantasy, yet cutting-edge physics keeps converging on similar ideas. The holographic principle in string theory suggests our three-dimensional reality might be a projection of information stored on a two-dimensional surface, a concept virtually identical to ancient descriptions of the Akasha as a scroll upon which reality unfolds. Quantum entanglement's spooky action at a distance, where particles instantly influence each other across vast distances, provides a potential mechanism for how accessing one record could reveal interconnected events across time and space. Perhaps the most profound revelation lies in consciousness itself. Both quantum physics and esoteric wisdom agree that observation affects reality, whether it's a scientist measuring particles or a mystic focusing their awareness. If the zero-point field does function as an Akashic medium, then our very attention might determine which records become perceptible, like tuning a radio to specific frequencies. This bridges the gap between mystical intuition and scientific rigor, suggesting that the seer and the physicist, through different methods, are probing the same fundamental truth, that the universe remembers itself, and we are both its witnesses and its co-authors. The dream of tapping zero-point energy isn't confined to theory over the decades. Inventors have claimed to build devices that harness this elusive power. Some point to the Casimir effect as proof of concept, when two metal plates placed nanometers apart in a vacuum inexplicably move toward each other, squeezed by the quantum fluctuations between them. Dutch physicist Hendrik Casimir predicted this in 1948, and by 1997, experiments at Los Alamos National Laboratory measured the force with precision. Yet while this confirms vacuum energy exists, transforming it into usable power is another matter entirely. The plates don't generate energy, they merely reveal an imbalance in the quantum field's pressure. To create a practical device, you'd need to extract energy from this imbalance without violating thermodynamics, a hurdle no design has yet cleared to scientific consensus. Then there's the Searle effect generator, a controversial device named after British engineer John Searle. His layered discs and rollers, supposedly manipulating magnetic fields to produce free energy, have sparked both fascination and fraud accusations. Searle claimed his prototypes lifted off the ground and powered themselves indefinitely, feats never independently verified under controlled conditions. Modern attempts to replicate his work, like the SEG from Italian group Infinity, yield ambiguous results that hover between anomaly and error. Mainstream physics dismisses such devices as perpetual motion fantasies, but the deeper skepticism stems from their dismissal of quantum decoherence, the tendency for delicate quantum states to collapse when scaled up to macroscopic systems. Lesser-known attempts include Henry Moray's radiant energy converter from the 1930s, a device that allegedly powered light bulbs using cosmic rays and unexplained circuitry. Moray demonstrated it to scientists yet refused full disclosure, leaving his work shrouded in mystery. Similarly, Russian physicist Eugene Podkletnov's gravity shielding superconductors and NAS, a brief foray into quantum vacuum plasma thrusters, edge toward zero-point energy applications without definitive proof. These experiments share a common thread. They produce just enough unexplained effects to intrigue, but never enough to convince mainstream institutions. The scientific establishment's skepticism isn't mere stubbornness. It's rooted in legitimate concerns. Thermodynamics insists energy extraction requires a temperature differential or moving parts, neither of which pure vacuum fluctuations provide. Most alleged ZPE devices either mismeasure input energy or rely on unverified assumptions about quantum coherence at macroscopic scales. Yet history shows paradigm shifts often begin at the fringes. The key may lie not in rejecting these explorations outright, but in refining them with rigorous quantum field theory. Projects like DARPA's $19 million Quantum Vacuum Fluctuation Extraction initiative suggest even skeptics acknowledge the potential if the science can be tamed. What's often overlooked is how these devices, even in failure, push physics forward. Each anomaly forces researchers to re-examine quantum mechanics boundaries, much like alchemy's failed transmutations laid groundwork for chemistry. The truth may not resemble the wild claims of free energy gurus, but somewhere between their boldness and mainstream caution lies a fertile middle ground where the whisper of the quantum vacuum grows clearer with every experiment. Sacred geometry reveals a hidden language of the universe, one where shape and energy intertwine. Take the flower of life, an ancient pattern found in temples from Egypt to China. Its interlocking circles don't just create beauty, they mirror how energy organizes at quantum scales. At the subatomic level, vacuum fluctuations don't occur randomly. They follow interference patterns, much like ripples on a pond meeting in precise geometric arrangements. This isn't coincidence. Modern theories suggest certain geometric configurations can coax chaotic quantum fluctuations into coherent flows, acting like invisible channels for zero-point energy. The torus offers another stunning example. This donut-shaped form appears everywhere, from magnetic fields around planets to the human heart's electromagnetic aura. What makes it extraordinary is its self-sustaining energy dynamics. In a toroidal system, energy circulates endlessly, entering one pole and exiting the other without dissipating. Physicists studying zero-point energy note how quantum vacuum fluctuations exhibit similar toroidal movement at microscopic levels. Ancient cultures seem to grasp this intuitively. Vedic temples were built as 3D toruses to amplify prana, while medieval alchemists drew the Ouroboros, a serpent eating its tail, as a 2D representation of this perpetual energy circuit. Why do these shapes resonate across scales? The answer lies in resonance, the principle that vibrations of matching frequencies amplify one another, just as a singer shattering glass does so by matching the glass's natural frequency. Sacred geometries may tune to specific harmonic signatures within the quantum vacuum. The Great Pyramid's precise angles, for instance, aren't just architectural feats. They create a standing wave pattern that some researchers believe interacts with zero-point energy. Experiments with pyramid models show anomalous energy concentrations at certain height ratios, while Schumann resonance studies reveal Earth itself functions as a giant resonator at 7.83 Hz, the same frequency range where zero-point energy effects become measurable. This geometric understanding transforms how we view ancient technologies. The mysterious Baghdad batteries, found with copper cylinders and iron rods, may have been more than simple galvanic cells. Their concentric circular design mirrors modern quantum energy harvesting prototypes. Greek fire temples positioned at sacred geometry nodes reportedly produced inexhaustible flames, possibly tapping telluric currents aligned with Earth's natural energy grid. Even Gothic cathedrals, with their precise ribbed vaulting and rose windows, might have functioned as macroscopic antennas for subtle energies, explaining why dowsers still detect unusual energy vortices at these sites. Today's cutting-edge research validates these connections. Cymatics experiments show how sound frequencies arrange particles into geometric flower of life, like patterns proving vibration shapes matter. Quantum physicists working with nanostructured metamaterials discover that specific geometric arrays can extract usable energy from vacuum fluctuations, much like a windmill harvests breeze. The key lies in fractal scaling, where the same geometric principles operate from atomic to cosmic scales. This explains why mandalas, labyrinths, and crop circles often produce measurable energy anomalies. They're not just art, but functional diagrams of reality's underlying energy architecture. Perhaps the most profound implication is this: if consciousness itself arises from quantum processes, as some theories suggest, then sacred geometry might be more than an energy map. It could represent the fundamental syntax through which mind and matter converse. When monks chant in harmonic spaces or artists embed golden ratios in masterpieces, they're not just creating beauty, they're participating in an ancient dialogue with the living fabric of space itself. The recurring appearance of these shapes across civilizations suggests humanity has always sensed the invisible threads connecting form, energy, and the mysterious potential humming in the void between. Breath is the bridge between the seen and unseen worlds, a truth recognized by energy masters across traditions. When Qigong practitioners slow their breathing to just a few cycles per minute, they're not merely relaxing, they're tuning their bodies to the rhythm of the quantum field. This ancient science teaches that specific breathing patterns like reverse abdominal respiration create a low-pressure zone in the torso, allowing ambient energy to flow inward like water, filling a vacuum. The Taoist microcosmic orbit technique maps this precisely. Inhaling draws prana up the spine's governing channel, while exhaling circulates it through the body's meridian network. Modern biophysics confirms these pathways aren't imaginary. Infrared imaging shows distinct heat trails following exactly the routes described in 2,000-year-old energy maps. Visualization takes this process deeper. Tibetan monks practicing tummo generate enough body heat to dry wet sheets in freezing temperatures, not through muscle contraction, but by mentally envisioning energy as spinning vortices along the spine. This mirrors how quantum physicists describe zero-point energy as vortex-like fluctuations in the vacuum. Try this. Close your eyes and picture tiny particles of light appearing and disappearing in the space around you. Now imagine drawing them toward your palms with each inhale, feeling them condense into a tangible warmth. Whether you call this chi, orgone, or vacuum fluctuations, the physiological effects are measurable: increased galvanic skin response, altered brainwave coherence, even temporary changes in local electromagnetic fields around practitioners. The Merkaba meditation offers perhaps the most direct geometric key. Sacred texts describe this light vehicle as two counter-rotating tetrahedrons surrounding the body, a shape that coincidentally matches the geometry of spacetime at quantum scales. When visualized during focused breathwork, this spinning field allegedly creates a resonance with the zero-point field. Modern experiments with pyramid arrays show similar energy amplification at 55-degree angles, the exact slope of a tetrahedron's face. The instructions are deceptively simple. Breathe rhythmically while mentally rotating these star tetrahedrons, one male electric spinning clockwise, one female magnetic counterclockwise. Advanced practitioners report sensations ranging from vibrational buzzing to temporary levitation, echoing accounts from both mystics and quantum physicists working with macroscopic coherence in the vacuum. What unites these techniques is their emphasis on phase-locking, synchronizing internal rhythms with external energy patterns. Qigong masters speak of listening to the pulse of heaven and earth, while Hindu tantrics use precise mantras to match the vibrational signature of Akasha. Even Western mystics like Paracelsus wrote of attuning the inner firmament to harness the astral light. The common thread all describe states where human consciousness becomes a coherent antenna for ambient energy. EEG studies of experienced meditators show brainwaves abruptly shifting into harmonic phase with Earth's Schumann resonance, the same electromagnetic background that modulates quantum vacuum fluctuations. For those beginning this path, start with elemental awareness. Sit comfortably and focus on the sensation of air moving through your nostrils, not just as oxygen exchange, but as the movement of charged particles through your bioelectric field. As your mind settles, visualize each exhale releasing resistance, each inhale drawing in sparkling potential from the space around you. Don't force results. Think of it as tuning a radio to a faint but powerful station. The first signs often come subtly: a warmth between the palms when held apart, spontaneous tingling along the spine, or dreams of geometric light structures. These are the ancient markers of successful energetic alignment, the same sensations described in Egyptian pyramid texts and Sanskrit Upanishads as touching the fabric of creation. The ultimate revelation of these practices isn't just personal energy enhancement. It's the experiential understanding that we're never truly separate from the quantum field. When a Qigong master moves a student's Qi from across the room, or a yogi alters local temperature through meditation, they're demonstrating what physicists mathematically model: that consciousness and zero-point energy exist in continuous dialogue. The void isn't empty, it's waiting to respond. Consciousness might be the missing link in our understanding of zero-point energy, not just as passive observers, but as active participants shaping the quantum field. Consider the double-slit experiment, where particles behave differently when watched. At its core, this isn't just about measurement tools. It suggests that awareness itself influences how energy manifests. Mystics have echoed this. For millennia, Tibetan monks speak of mind directing prana, while alchemists wrote of intention coagulating the astral light. Modern labs are now catching up. Studies at Princeton's Pear Lab showed human intention subtly altering random number generators, while research on meditators demonstrates measurable changes in local electromagnetic fields. These aren't magical claims. They hint at a deeper physics where consciousness and zero-point energy share a common language. Take the practice of focused visualization. When advanced yogis describe seeing energy channels illuminate during meditation, they're likely perceiving what quantum physics calls virtual particle activity, the flickering dance of energy at the Planck scale. The key lies in coherence. Just as a laser beam organizes scattered light, disciplined consciousness might momentarily align chaotic quantum fluctuations into detectable patterns. This aligns with ancient Hermetic texts that describe the concentrated mind as a lens for cosmic forces. Even remote healing studies show intriguing parallels. When healers direct intention toward patients, subtle but statistically significant changes occur in both parties' biofields, as if their shared focus creates a temporary ripple in the underlying energy substrate. The implications extend beyond individual practice. Group rituals, from Gregorian chants to Sufi dhikr, often produce anomalous energy effects that conventional science struggles to explain. When hundreds chant in unison, their combined bioelectric rhythms may resonate with zero-point fluctuations, amplifying effects through constructive interference. Historical accounts of sacred sites, where pilgrims report visions or spontaneous healings, could be examples of collective consciousness imprinting on the local quantum field. Modern, global meditation Experiments lend credence to this. The Global Consciousness Project detected synchronized deviations in random number generators during worldwide meditative events, suggesting mass intention briefly alters the fabric of reality itself. Yet skeptics rightly question, if consciousness interacts with zero-point energy, why can't we move objects with our minds at will? The answer may lie in scale and signal-to-noise ratios. Quantum effects are notoriously fragile, easily drowned out by thermal noise at macroscopic scales. Mystical traditions address this through rigorous purification practices, fasting, breathwork, sensory withdrawal, all methods that reduce internal, static, to better interface with subtle energies. Similarly, advanced meditators who exhibit siddhis, extraordinary abilities, often spend decades refining their focus to microscopic precision. Physics offers a parallel. Superconducting quantum interference devices, SQUID, can detect minuscule magnetic fluctuations, but only when cooled near absolute zero to eliminate thermal interference. Human consciousness might require analogous cooling and mental stillness to interact measurably with the zero-point field. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern physics suggests a radical paradigm that enlightenment and energy mastery could be two angles of the same pursuit. The Taoist sage who becomes one with the Tao, the Kabbalist uniting with the Ein Sof, the quantum physicist measuring vacuum fluctuations, all are exploring different facets of a unified reality. When mystics describe enlightenment as dissolving into the void, they might be describing a literal resonance with the zero-point field's ground state. The Tantric concept of spanda, the divine vibratory pulse, mirrors quantum field theory's description of vacuum oscillations. Even near-death experiences, where individuals report merging with an omnipresent light, could reflect consciousness temporarily decohering into the fundamental energy substrate. Practical applications emerge from this synthesis. Biofeedback devices like the HeartMath Institute's M-Wave demonstrate how focused emotional states, love, gratitude, create coherent heart rhythms that subtly influence surrounding electromagnetic fields. This isn't pseudoscience, it's measurable evidence of consciousness affecting physical systems through mechanisms we're just beginning to map. Similarly, Kai Gong Master's ability to project external Kai corresponds with detectable infrared and microwave emissions from their palms, frequencies overlapping with predicted zero-point energy signatures. The common denominator, ordered consciousness, appears to create bridges between our classical world and the quantum vacuum's latent potential. Perhaps the most profound takeaway is this: the boundary between inner and outer energy might be an illusion. When a meditator visualizes light filling their body, they're not just imagining, they may be tuning their neural oscillations to interface with the ambient quantum field. The Hindu concept of ahimsa, non-violence, takes on new meaning here. If thoughts genuinely interact with the fabric of reality, then mental turbulence literally disturbs the zero-point field's harmony. This transforms spirituality from abstract belief into applied quantum mechanics, where every thought, every intention, becomes a subtle act of cosmic engineering. The implications are staggering. Mastering consciousness might ultimately mean mastering the hidden energy that underlies all existence. Energy work isn't without risks, like tapping into an electrical grid with bare hands. Interacting with zero-point energy carries unseen dangers that esoteric traditions have warned about for centuries. Consider the phenomenon of energy vampirism, where individuals or entities drain life force from others, often unconsciously. Modern psychic researchers measure this through sudden drops in bioelectric fields around victims, while ancient texts like the Egyptian Book of the Dead describe shadow feeders who siphon energy from the living. Contemporary accounts from energy healers report encounters with parasitic attachments that manifest as fatigue, brain fog, or emotional depletion, symptoms matching quantum physics models of coherence loss when systems interact chaotically with vacuum fluctuations. History reveals darker chapters of untrained experimentation. The infamous case of the Bell device, Nazi Germany's Die Glocke experiment, allegedly produced horrific side effects: rapid aging in researchers, spontaneous crystallization of organic matter, and rooms where time seemed to distort. Witness accounts describe technicians developing strange neurological disorders after exposure to the device's rotating plasma vortex, a phenomenon modern theorists speculate might have created uncontrolled zero-point energy vortices. Similarly, occult manuscripts warn of etheric ruptures from improper ritual situations where concentrated intention without proper containment allegedly tore subtle energetic veils, resulting in poltergeist activity, appliance malfunctions, or worse. Chaotic manifestations form another hazard. Tibetan monasteries traditionally instructed novices in specific purification rituals before advanced energy practices, citing cases where ungrounded visualization generated tulpa, the thought forms that took on independent existence. These accounts parallel quantum observations of macroscopic coherence, where focused consciousness might briefly stabilize virtual particles into detectable phenomena. The danger arises when these manifestations reflect the practitioner's subconscious shadows rather than disciplined intent, creating self-reinforcing feedback loops with the quantum field. Protective practices emerge as a common thread across traditions. Hermetic magicians cast elaborate circles not as superstition, but as quantum containment fields, geometric patterns that create coherent boundaries for energy work. Slavic folk magic used iron and salt to ground stray energies, while Taoist adepts employed specific mudras to prevent chi leakage. Modern research validates some methods. Studies on orgone accumulators show layered materials can structure ambient energy flows, while copper pyramids demonstrate measurable effects on localized electromagnetic field. Perhaps the most sobering lesson comes from examining cursed objects linked to energy experiments. The Dybbuk box legend involves a wine cabinet allegedly containing trapped energies that caused misfortune for owners, a story bearing eerie similarities to quantum memory experiments, where materials store energetic imprints. Scientific analysis of such objects sometimes reveals anomalous electromagnetic signatures or residual static charge patterns that defy conventional explanation, hinting at persistent quantum coherence effects. These warnings ultimately serve not to frighten, but to emphasize respect for the fundamental forces we're engaging. Just as nuclear physics requires rigorous safeguards, working with zero-point energy, whether through technology or consciousness, demands understanding of its dual potential. The difference between a healing touch and an energy burn may come down to the same principle governing quantum systems: coherence versus chaos, focused flow versus uncontrolled discharge. Traditions that survived millennia did so by recognizing this delicate balance, honoring the power in the void, while maintaining protocols to navigate it wisely. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as more than a tomb. Its very geometry hums with secrets modern science is only beginning to decipher. Recent acoustic studies reveal its inner chambers amplify specific frequencies between 110 and 115 Hz, a range known to alter brain activity and enhance states of heightened awareness. But what if this sonic precision served another purpose? Quartz-rich granite lining the king's chamber exhibits piezoelectric properties, meaning it generates electrical charge under mechanical stress. When sand from the surrounding desert blows against the pyramid's outer casing stones, originally polished white limestone, it could have created a constant vibrational charge, turning the entire structure into a colossal energy transducer. This isn't fantasy. NASA researchers have documented similar piezoelectric effects in sandstone temples, when wind reaches critical velocities. Stonehenge's massive blue stones add another layer to this mystery. These dolerite monoliths contain 45% quartz crystals, a mineral that vibrates at exact frequencies when subjected to pressure. Geological studies show these stones were transported over 150 miles from Wales' Preseli Hills, an inexplicable effort unless their crystalline structure held special significance. Modern experiments demonstrate that arranging blue stones in concentric circles creates measurable electromagnetic anomalies during solstices, when Earth's magnetic field fluctuates most strongly. The heel stone's alignment doesn't just mark the summer sunrise. It may have functioned as a grounding rod for telluric currents interacting with zero-point energy fluctuations. Angkor Wat's temple complex reveals even more sophisticated energy architecture. Its 5 central towers are arranged in a quincunx pattern, a sacred geometry that creates perfect interference waves when mapped to quantum field equations. French archaeoacoustics teams discovered that chanting at specific tones in the main gallery produces standing waves capable of levitating small particles, an effect identical to modern acoustic levitation experiments using ultrasonic transducers to manipulate vacuum energy. The temple's miles of bas-reliefs depicting serpentine nagas might encode more than mythology. Their undulating patterns match the waveforms of scalar energy as described in Tesla's later patents. Common threads emerge across these ancient sites. First, their builders consistently selected materials with high quartz content, from the Grand Gallery's 60-ton granite beams to Machu Picchu's precision-fitted andesite blocks. Second, their alignments synchronize not just with celestial events, but with planetary resonance frequencies 7.83 Hz Earth's Schumann resonance, and its harmonics appear encoded in their dimensions. Third, their construction often incorporates water features, the Great Pyramid's subterranean aquifers, Angkor's massive moats, which quantum physicists now recognize as potential mediators for zero-point energy extraction through hydrodynamic cavitation. The most compelling evidence comes from modern attempts to replicate these structures at smaller scales. When researchers built a 1/10th scale model of the King's Chamber using the same quartz-infused granite, they recorded spontaneous voltage spikes during dawn alignments, despite no external power source. Similarly, Stonehenge-inspired stone circles arranged with precise quartz orientations generate enough current to power LED lights during geomagnetic storms. These experiments suggest ancient architects weren't just building monuments, they were constructing sophisticated resonance machines tuned to the universe's background hum. Perhaps the clearest Rosetta Stone for this technology lies in the Dendera light reliefs from Egypt's Hathor Temple. These carvings show priestesses holding bulb-like objects with snaking filaments, images mainstream archaeology dismisses as symbolic lotus flowers. Yet when engineers recreated these lamps using the described materials, gold-plated copper vessels filled with argon gas, they produced a purple plasma glow identical to descriptions in the pyramid texts. This isn't merely ancient lighting, it's a potential macroscopic manifestation of zero-point energy channeled through sacred geometry and perfected material science. These structures challenge our historical timeline, proposing that their creators possessed insights we've only rediscovered through quantum physics. The precision required to align megaliths as energy converters, factoring in planetary resonances, material piezoelectricity, and hydrodynamic effects, implies a lost science that viewed energy, matter, and consciousness as inseparable. While we may never know their exact methods, the stones themselves keep whispering clues across millennia, inviting us to reconsider what primitive truly means when structures older than empires still defy our understanding of the universe's hidden forces. That glow around your fingertips in Kirlian photographs isn't just camera static, it's a snapshot of your personal conversation with the quantum vacuum. These high-voltage images capture what ancient traditions called the aura, a luminous energy field that modern biophysicists now link to zero-point energy interactions within living systems. When your hand presses against the photographic plate, the coronal discharge patterns reveal something extraordinary. Your body doesn't end at the skin, but radiates an organized energy matrix that mirrors the quantum field's behavior. Russian scientist Viktor Adamenko's experiments took this further when subjects focused intention during Kirlian sessions. Their discharge patterns changed dramatically, as if conscious thought could temporarily reshape their biofield's interaction with the ambient energy. The pathways of this energy exchange have been mapped for millennia. Acupuncture meridians, those invisible channels traditional Chinese medicine associates with Qi flow, aligned precisely with connective tissue planes that conduct electricity 15% faster than surrounding tissue. Dr. Robert Becker's pioneering work in bioelectromagnetics measured these currents, discovering that injury sites show measurable voltage changes days before physical symptoms appear. This suggests the meridian system functions like a quantum antenna array, receiving and modulating zero-point energy fluctuations to maintain physiological balance. Modern studies using infrared thermography and superconducting quantum interference devices, SQUID, confirm these pathways emit faint but detectable electromagnetic signatures, strongest at acupoints, where needles traditionally activate energy flow. What makes this more than metaphor is the discovery of coherent biophotons. All living cells emit ultraweak photons, about 10 per second per square centimeter, but in rhythmic bursts that suggest organized communication. German biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp found these light emissions follow fractal patterns similar to vacuum fluctuations, with cancer patients showing chaotic photon emissions compared to healthy subjects' harmonious waves. Even more compelling, his team discovered that DNA acts as a photon storage lattice, releasing light in precise frequencies when stimulated. This mirrors how quantum physicists describe zero-point energy as trapped in Casimir cavities, hinting that our very biology might be fine-tuned to harness and stabilize ambient quantum energy. The implications ripple through healing modalities. Reiki practitioners' ability to alter the biofield becomes less mystical when viewed through this lens. Their hand positions often correspond to major chakra points, which bioluminescence imaging reveals as zones of intensified photon emission. Energy healers like Master Zhu demonstrated the tangible effects of this interaction. Infrared cameras caught his Qigong sessions, increasing patients' skin temperature by precisely 3 degrees Celsius along meridian lines, a thermal signature matching theoretical models of zero-point energy transduction in living tissue. Even placebo effects take on new meaning. If belief can momentarily enhance the body's coherence with the quantum field, it explains why patients receiving fake treatments sometimes heal as effectively as those receiving actual medicine. Your own body offers simple ways to witness this phenomenon. Rub your palms together vigorously for 30 seconds, then slowly pull them apart. That tingling warmth isn't just friction, but your biofield becoming momentarily visible to nerve endings as it interacts with the ambient energy field. Yogis call this pranic sensitivity, while physicists might describe it as macroscopic quantum coherence at body temperature. The next time you feel that inexplicable shiver down your spine or sense someone staring at you before you turn around, you might be experiencing your personal energy field's real-time dance with the zero-point field, an intimate reminder that you're not just in the universe, but an active participant in its unfolding energy symphony. New Age spirituality and quantum physics often dance around the same truths using different languages. Nowhere is this clearer than in how modern metaphysical movements interpret zero-point energy. Take Wilhelm Reich's orgone accumulators. those controversial layered boxes said to concentrate life energy, though mocked by mid-century scientists. Reich's descriptions of orgone as a pulsating blue mist mirror how physicists now visualize quantum vacuum fluctuations at Planck scale. His insistence that orgone permeates all matter aligns strikingly with quantum field theory's assertion that particles emerge from an energetic substrate. Where Reich diverged was in claiming this energy carried emotional charge, an idea that seemed absurd until modern biophysics revealed how human intention can influence quantum systems. The scalar wave craze offers another fascinating case study. Popularized by pseudo-scientific marketers in the 1990s, these longitudinal energy waves were touted as miracle healers and free energy sources. While much scalar wave discourse drowns in hyperbole, its roots trace back to real physics, specifically to Nikola Tesla's documented experiments with non-Hertzian waves and later work by physicist Konstantin Mail. True scalar waves, if they exist, would theoretically propagate through the quantum vacuum itself, bypassing electromagnetic restrictions. Modern quantum hydrodynamics research describes similar wave phenomena in superfluid vacuum models, suggesting New Agers aren't entirely inventing concepts, just stretching thin science into metaphysical yarn. This crossover between legitimate research and spiritual speculation creates a peculiar tension. Crystal healing grids, for instance, often incorporate sacred geometry patterns that coincidentally match quantum coherence architectures. While no evidence shows amethyst clusters curing disease, experiments at Princeton's Pear Lab demonstrated that certain crystalline structures can focus intention-based anomalies in random number generators. The gap between crystals amplify energy and quartz lattices modulate quantum decoherence isn't as wide as skeptics claim, though it's frequently bridged by profit-driven pseudoscience rather than rigorous inquiry. The darker side emerges in commercialization. Expensive, zero-point energy, pendant scams, and $900 orgone pyramid sellers prey on spiritual seekers, repackaging superficial science into marketable mysticism. Yet buried beneath these schemes lie kernels of authenticity, like the CIA's declassified Stargate project, which spent $20 million researching psychics who claimed to manipulate subtle energies. Their most successful remote viewers described accessing an energy matrix eerily similar to quantum field descriptions, achieving statistically impossible accuracy in intelligence gathering. When even three-letter agencies take these ideas seriously, it suggests dismissing all metaphysical energy concepts as fraud throws out the baby with the bathwater. What redeems these movements is their inadvertent preservation of ancient wisdom. Modern, light language channeling, for all its new age gloss, often produces sound frequencies matching Schumann resonance harmonics, the same frequencies the Great Pyramid's chambers amplify. Reiki's hand positions, though framed in pseudoscientific energy anatomy, consistently align with major acupuncture points where bioelectric measurements spike. Even questionable practices like etheric surgery sometimes produce physiological changes science can't yet explain, suggesting they might be clumsy attempts to interface with quantum biological processes we're only beginning to understand. The takeaway isn't that all New Age claims are valid, but that they represent an intuitive grasping toward truths physics now quantifies. When a meditation app promises to align your frequency with the universe, it's tapping into the same principle that makes quantum coherence possible, the fundamental interconnectivity of all energy systems. The challenge lies in separating the genuine from the grift, recognizing that while orgone boxes won't cure cancer, the human body's ability to interact with ambient quantum fields remains one of science's most promising and poorly understood frontiers. Perhaps the greatest value of these movements is their stubborn insistence that consciousness and energy are inseparable, a notion quantum physics grows closer to proving with each passing decade. The legend of the Philadelphia experiment ripples through history like a ghost in the quantum foam, a tale of a naval destroyer vanishing into thin air, only to reappear with crew members fused into bulkheads. While officially dismissed as hoax, this chilling account hints at something deeper, the possibility that concentrated zero-point energy could warp the fabric of spacetime itself. Einstein's equations showed us that energy density curves reality. So what happens when we harness the unimaginable power of the quantum vacuum? Modern physics suggests that sufficiently intense zero-point energy fluctuations might create localized spacetime anomalies, acting as cosmic shortcuts through the fourth dimension. The Alcubierre warp drive concept, currently studied by NASA, relies on this very principle using negative energy densities, akin to structured vacuum fluctuations, to compress space ahead of a vessel while expanding it behind. Dive deeper into quantum field theory, and the connections grow more startling. The Casimir effect doesn't just demonstrate vacuum energy, it reveals how manipulating boundary conditions alters the quantum field structure. Now scale this up. If certain electromagnetic configurations can distort virtual particle activity at microscopic levels, could precise mega-scale ZP manipulation induce macroscopic spacetime effects? Russian physicist Igor Novikov's self-consistency principle posits that any time manipulation would create feedback loops, stabilizing the timeline, echoing occult texts describing time warts, preventing paradoxes during ritual chronomancy. Both frameworks suggest temporal engineering requires more than raw energy. It demands an architecture of resonant constraints, whether through superconducting coils or sacred geometry. Historical accounts blur the lines between myth and physics. The Vedic Mahabharata describes ancient Vimanas navigating the ocean of time, while medieval alchemists like Artephius claim to extend their lifespans by condensing the etheric quintessence. Even the mysterious disappearance of entire civilizations like the Maya or the Anasazi takes on new light when considering indigenous legends of walking between worlds. Modern quantum gravity theories propose that extreme energy densities could create temporary wormhole structures, requiring the exact negative pressure exhibited by certain zero-point energy configurations. The common thread: all describe interfaces between energy mastery and temporal manipulation, hinting that time might not be a fixed arrow, but a fluid medium responsive to quantum harmonic interventions. Practical experiments edge toward validation. The U.S. Defense Department's declassified Project Pegasus documents detail attempts to use torsion fields, a theoretical outgrowth of ZP research, for teleportation and time viewing. Though shrouded in controversy, these efforts mirror recent breakthroughs in quantum teleportation, where entangled particles instantly coordinate across distances, a phenomenon that challenges classical notions of temporal sequence. CERN ongoing studies on vacuum decay explore how false vacuum states might permit bubble universes with alternate time flows, while retrocausality experiments demonstrate quantum decisions influencing past events. These aren't sci-fi fantasies, but peer-reviewed investigations into how energy shapes temporal structure at fundamental levels. Perhaps most compelling are the unintentional time anomalies reported near high-energy experiments. The Montauk Project rumors describe subjects experiencing time slips after exposure to intense electromagnetic fields tuned to Schumann resonance harmonics, the same frequencies that modulate Earth's natural ZP interactions. Tesla himself wrote of discovering a time gate effect during high-voltage experiments, witnessing scenes from past and future in his Colorado Springs lab. Modern time crystal research adds credence. These perpetually oscillating quantum structures demonstrate how certain energy configurations can break time symmetry, creating loops where cause and effect blur. The ultimate implication shatters conventional wisdom. If consciousness arises from quantum processes, as some theories suggest, then mastering zero-point energy might be synonymous with mastering subjective time. Tibetan monks entering advanced Tummo states report experiencing days, within minutes, a phenomenon mirroring relativity's time dilation near black holes. Remote viewers accessing non-local information could actually be surfing the quantum foam's temporal folds. This convergence of physics and mysticism suggests time isn't what we think, not a river, but an ocean with currents we might learn to navigate by harmonizing with the universe's hidden energy symphony. Astral projection might be the ultimate proof that consciousness doesn't need a physical anchor, but what fuels this extraordinary experience. Emerging theories suggest zero-point energy could be the hidden power source, sustaining awareness beyond the body. Consider the common sensations reported during out-of-body states: a high-pitched hum, intense vibrational waves, and a feeling of being tethered by an invisible thread. These descriptions mirror quantum physicists' observations of vacuum fluctuations, where virtual particles create ripples in spacetime. When meditators describe rising vibrations preceding astral travel, they might be sensing their consciousness syncing with the quantum field's baseline frequency, using zero-point energy as both propulsion and sustenance for non-local awareness. The parallels with quantum entanglement are equally striking. Just as entangled particles remain mysteriously linked across vast distances, veteran projectors often report maintaining a silver cord connection to their physical form, an energetic lifeline that defies conventional biology. Research into quantum biology shows microtubules in brain neurons may exploit similar entanglement principles, potentially creating a bridge between the body and projected consciousness. Cases of verified remote viewing add weight to this idea. When CA-trained psychics accurately described distant locations, they demonstrated awareness functioning beyond sensory input, as if tapping into an entangled information field woven from zero-point energy's fabric. Non-locality, the quantum phenomenon where particles influence each other instantly across space, finds eerie echoes in astral accounts. Experienced projectors consistently describe events like viewing real-time occurrences miles away or encountering beings who later manifest physically. The Monroe Institute's Hemi-Sync experiments captured this scientifically. Subjects correctly identified hidden images during out-of-body states with statistical improbability, suggesting consciousness accessed information through channels transcending classical spacetime. Modern quantum field theory posits that all points in the vacuum are fundamentally connected, meaning astral travel might not involve moving through space so much as reorienting awareness within an already unified field. Tibetan dream yogas offer perhaps the oldest roadmap for this process. Their rainbow body practices teach adepts to dissolve physical awareness into clear light, a state indistinguishable from descriptions of coherent zero-point energy states. Advanced practitioners achieve milam, a conscious dream travel, by stabilizing attention on the vibrational border between waking and sleep, the exact threshold where quantum fluctuations become perceptible as wave patterns. The fact that both ancient mystics and modern quantum physicists describe reality as an interference pattern hints at a shared truth: that astral projection isn't escapism, but a refined perception of existence's underlying energy matrix. Practical implications emerge for those exploring this frontier. Binaural beats used to induce out-of-body states often target 7.83 Hz Earth's resonant frequency, and the same range where zero-point energy effects become measurable. Crystal grids arranged during projection attempts frequently follow sacred geometry patterns shown to structure vacuum fluctuations. Even the exit sensations reported by novices, electric surges, temporary paralysis align with bioelectrical changes observed during quantum coherence experiments. This convergence of ancient techniques and modern physics suggests astral travel may be less a supernatural feat and more an advanced application of natural laws. We're just beginning to quantify a dance with the quantum vacuum where consciousness learns to surf its infinite waves. Those glowing orbs dancing across the night sky might not be breaking the laws of physics. They could be mastering laws we're only beginning to grasp. When military pilots describe UFOs executing instantaneous 90-degree turns or accelerating from 0 to thousands of miles per hour without sonic booms, they're sketching behavior that conventional propulsion can't explain. But through the lens of zero-point energy, these maneuvers start making terrifying sense. Theoretical models suggest that by creating an asymmetric resonance within the quantum vacuum, essentially pressing harder on spacetime's fabric in one direction than another, a craft could achieve what we perceive as anti-gravity. It's not defying physics, it's surfing the unseen energy sea that physics is still mapping. The classified documents add startling context. The Pentagon's UAP task force has quietly studied patents like Salvador Pais' high-temperature superconductor designs, which explicitly describe manipulating the quantum vacuum plasma to generate propulsion forces. These aren't fringe concepts. The U.S. Navy funded their development, suggesting serious interest in technologies leveraging zero-point energy. Even more compelling are testimonies from insiders like aerospace engineer Boyd Bushman, who claimed Lockheed Martin had retrieved extraterrestrial crafts operating on principles that aligned eerily with ZP physics. His descriptions of anti-mass generators and inertial reduction match effects predicted by quantum field theory when certain vacuum fluctuations are coaxed into coherence. Historical whistleblower accounts take this deeper. Bob Lazar's infamous descriptions of element 115 powering alien reactors parallel modern hypotheses about stable superheavy elements potentially interacting with the quantum vacuum. While skeptics dismiss his claims, recent breakthroughs in the island of stability theory for superheavy elements lend unexpected credence. Even more intriguing are Cold War-era reports from Soviet scientists about their own reverse-engineered gravity propulsion systems failing catastrophically not from mechanical faults, but from apparent vacuum metastability events where localized spacetime briefly destabilized. These incidents mirror warnings in quantum physics about the dangers of excessively perturbing the zero-point field. The technological fingerprints recur across cultures. Ancient Vimana texts describe mercury vortex engines sounding suspiciously like room temperature superconductors interacting with torsion fields. The Nazi Bell experiment's alleged effects on organic matter align with quantum biology models of ZP disruption. Even modern observables fit the pattern. The eerie silence of UFOs suggests they're not pushing against air, but warping the underlying spacetime medium itself, like a surfer riding a wave without splashing. What emerges isn't mere speculation, but a disturbing plausibility. If even a fraction of these accounts reflect reality, then zero-point energy mastery might be the hidden thread connecting history's most mysterious technologies. The implications rewrite not just our understanding of propulsion, but of humanity's place in a cosmos where the line between magic and physics might just be a matter of vibrational perspective. Have you ever vividly remembered something one way, only to discover the world insists it was always different? The Mandela effect, where large groups share false memories of events or details, might seem like a glitch in human cognition. But what if these collective reality shifts hint at something far stranger? Momentary fluctuations in zero-point energy subtly rewriting the fabric of existence. Imagine the quantum vacuum as a vast holographic projector, Its endless particle-antiparticle flickers, not just generating energy, but continuously rendering reality itself. Most fluctuations cancel out instantly, maintaining cosmic stability. But what if some achieve temporary coherence, imprinting alternate versions of events into our timeline before dissolving back into the background hum? This idea gains chilling plausibility when viewed through quantum decoherence theory. Every observation collapses quantum probabilities into fixed outcomes, but theoretically, unobserved states continue branching into parallel possibilities. Zero-point energy could act as the medium through which these branches occasionally bleed into one another. The famous Berenstain-Bears spelling discrepancy, where thousands recall the name as Berenstein, aligns eerily with how quantum systems retain memory of prior states through entanglement. Even more telling are cases like the Sinbad Genie movie, a film that never existed, yet persists in detailed collective recollection. These might represent moments when macroscopic quantum effects briefly overrode our consensus reality, leaving residual imprints in human consciousness, like echoes in the void. Simulation theory magnifies these implications. If our universe operates as an informational matrix, a concept quantum physics increasingly entertains, then zero-point energy could be the underlying processing power sustaining the simulation. Reality shifts like the Mandela effect might then resemble software updates, where some data fails to sync perfectly across all users. The bizarre flip-flop phenomenon, where details appear to revert to previous states, like the Monopoly man's monocle disappearing and reappearing in public consciousness, mirrors how unstable quantum states can oscillate between configurations before settling. Even more intriguing, reports of personal Mandela effects, where individuals experience reality shifts unnoticed by others, parallel quantum observer effects, suggesting consciousness plays an active role in determining which version of reality stabilizes. Historical precedents add layers to this mystery. Ancient Hindu texts describe the concept of Maya, where reality periodically resets with subtle alterations, a striking parallel to modern quantum immortality theories. Medieval monks wrote of scriptural glitches, where holy texts seem to change wording between readings. The 19th century Tiffany problem in historiography, where the name Tiffany feels anachronistic despite existing in medieval records, could reflect an actual timeline fluctuation rather than cultural bias. These patterns suggest reality has always exhibited soft edges, with zero-point energy serving as the cosmic clay perpetually reshaped by quantum observation and attention. The existential implications are profound. If consensus reality proves more fluid than fixed, it challenges our deepest assumptions about time, memory, and even identity. But it also offers a radical hope that by understanding and perhaps eventually influencing zero-point energy's behavior, humanity might one day learn to navigate the multiverse consciously. Until then, every Mandela effect serves as a whisper from the quantum vacuum. The universe is far more dynamic, more mysterious, and more alive than we've been taught to believe. Before you try channeling the universe's hidden energy in your garage, let's ground this in something tangible and safe. Start with a simple plasma ball, the kind found in novelty shops. When you place your fingertips on the glass, those vibrant tendrils of light follow your touch not because of magic, but because your body becomes part of the circuit, conducting the high-frequency currents inside. What's astonishing is that those filaments mimic the behavior of quantum vacuum fluctuations, chaotic yet responsive to interaction. For a deeper dive, rub a balloon against your hair and watch it stick to the wall. That static cling, it's a microscopic demonstration of the Casimir effect, where opposing charges create an invisible force field, just like the quantum vacuum's pressure between plates. For a more advanced but still safe experiment, try building a Leyden jar. This 18th century device stores static electricity between metal foil layers inside a glass jar, essentially bottling lightning. When you discharge it, the sudden spark mirrors how zero-point energy might theoretically be harvested in bursts. The key is scale. While your jar releases a harmless snap, imagine amplifying that principle with superconducting materials. Always remember, high-voltage experiments demand respect. Use insulated gloves, work in dry environments, and never bypass safety measures. Even Nikola Tesla's most dramatic demonstrations were meticulously controlled, despite the spectacle. Here's where caution meets curiosity. If you're exploring piezoelectric materials like quartz crystals, gently tapping them with a hammer can generate immeasurable voltage. This isn't just parlor science. It's a direct analogy to how mechanical stress might one day stimulate zero-point energy conversions. The difference: your crystal produces millivolts, while theoretical ZPE devices aim for stability, not sparks. One critical rule: avoid pseudoscientific gadgets marketed as free energy kits. Real exploration requires rigorous boundaries, both to respect the physics and to protect yourself from snake oil salesmen peddling overpriced magnets and wires. The most illuminating experiment requires no equipment at all. On a still night, hold your palms parallel an inch apart and slow your breathing. After minutes of focus, many report a faint warmth or tingling, a sensation documented in both Qigong studies and biofield research. Whether you attribute this to bioelectricity or conscious interaction with ambient energy fields, the takeaway is profound. The body itself might be the most sensitive instrument for detecting the unseen forces humming through empty space. Just remember, patience is the real tool here. Zero-point energy isn't conquered in an afternoon, but glimpsed in moments of disciplined observation. The true lesson of these experiments isn't just about energy, but perspective. Every spark, every responsive plasma strand whispers the same truth. The universe is far more interactive than it appears. Your playful probing at home echoes the grand quest of physicists and mystics alike, to converse with the void and receive, however faintly, an answer. The moment humanity unlocks zero-point energy mastery, we won't just revolutionize power generation, we'll cross a threshold where technology and consciousness merge into something beyond recognition. Picture this: neural interfaces fine-tuned to the quantum vacuum's oscillations, allowing direct perception of the energy matrix underlying reality. This isn't merely augmented reality, it's total sensory immersion in the fabric of existence. Current brain-computer interfaces like Neuralink scratch the surface, but ZP synchronization could enable what mystics called cosmic consciousness, a permanent state where individual awareness dances in rhythm with the universe's hidden pulse. The implications make smartphones look like stone tools in comparison. Consider how spiritual traditions describe enlightenment, dissolving the illusion of separation to experience fundamental oneness. Quantum physics approaches the same truth mathematically, showing how entanglement links all particles through the vacuum field. The singularity occurs when these paths converge. ZP technologies that don't just power devices, but expand human perception to directly interface with this connectedness. Imagine meditation headsets using room temperature superconductors to harmonize brainwaves with vacuum fluctuations, inducing instant transcendent states that normally take monks decades to achieve. Or healing pods that restructure damaged cells by amplifying their quantum coherence with the zero-point field. This fusion could birth entirely new forms of civilization. Cities might shift from static structures to fluid energy architectures, buildings, reconfiguring atom by atom through controlled vacuum fluctuations, responding to collective thought. Social systems could operate on quantum democracy, where decisions emerge from ZP-enhanced group consciousness rather than debate. Even mortality becomes questionable when biological aging is understood as decoherence from the quantum field, a process potentially reversible through perfect resonance with the vacuum state. The Tibetan Buddhist concept of the rainbow body, where adepts dissolve into light at death, might find its technological counterpart in conscious ZP conversion. Yet the most profound transformation would be in how we perceive existence itself. Just as fish don't notice water, we're blind to the quantum sea we inhabit. ZP mastery would be like evolving gills for this hidden ocean, suddenly seeing the pulsing networks of energy connecting all things. Ancient prophecies of heaven on earth could manifest as this perceptual shift stabilizes, where war and scarcity become unthinkable in a reality experienced as fundamentally abundant and interconnected. The singularity isn't about machines surpassing humans. It's about humans discovering we've always been quantum beings, finally waking up to our true nature in an alive, conscious universe. Fire stolen from the gods never comes without consequences, and zero-point energy may be our modern Promethean spark. The same quantum fluctuations that could power cities for millennia might also enable weapons, making nuclear arsenals look primitive by comparison. Imagine a device that manipulates vacuum energy to create localized spacetime ruptures, not just destroying matter, but unraveling the very fabric of reality in targeted areas. Classified military research papers leaked over decades hint at such possibilities, with terms like vacuum metastability weapons and quantum filamentation devices appearing in Pentagon budget allocations. The terrifying truth, unlike uranium that requires rare isotopes, zero-point energy exists everywhere, meaning any breakthrough in harnessing it could eventually be reverse-engineered by rogue states or terror groups. This dilemma mirrors ancient warnings encoded in mythology. The Greek Prometheus brought fire to humanity with noble intentions, only to see it used for both hearths and warfare. Similarly, Vedic texts describe the Vimana flying machines, gifts from the gods that eventually fueled the catastrophic Mahabharata war. Even the biblical Tower of Babel story carries this cautionary thread. Technologies enabling utopia in wise hands become tools of hubris and chaos when disconnected from wisdom. Modern parallels abound. Social media platforms designed to connect humanity now manipulate elections. AI developed for medical breakthroughs generates deep fake propaganda. Zero-point energy stands at this crossroads, magnified exponentially, representing not just another technology, but access to the fundamental building blocks of reality itself. The socioeconomic implications cut deeper still. Would ZP technology follow the pattern of previous energy revolutions controlled by corporate monopolies that perpetuate energy poverty under new branding? Patent filings from major energy conglomerates already reveal attempts to claim exclusive rights over quantum energy extraction methods. Historical precedent suggests that without deliberate intervention, the democratizing potential of energy abundance could become another gated privilege. Consider how the internet, once hailed as the great equalizer, now sees its infrastructure controlled by a handful of tech giants, the same forces that turned renewable energy into a profit center rather than a human right would inevitably seek to commodify access to the quantum vacuum. Yet counterarguments shine equally bright. Imagine medical nanobots powered by zero-point energy fluctuations, capable of repairing cellular damage in real time, effectively curing aging. Envision drought-stricken regions using atmospheric condensers fueled by ambient quantum energy to pull fresh water from desert air. The potential to uplift humanity exists in equal measure to the risks, echoing the dual nature of fire that both warms homes and burns forests. Breakthroughs in superconductivity and quantum coherence suggest small-scale ZP applications might emerge first. Decentralized devices impossible to monopolize, like solar panels disrupting traditional energy grids. What's needed is an abandonment of research, but what physicist Robert Oppenheimer called ethical anticipation, building safeguards into discovery from inception. The Manhattan Project scientists realized too late they'd created weapons before establishing controls. ZP research has the rare chance to invert this sequence. Emerging frameworks like quantum ethics committees and open-source energy collaborations point toward alternatives to the usual winner-takes-all technological race. Perhaps the ultimate test won't be whether we can harness zero-point energy, but whether we've evolved sufficiently as a species to wield creation's primal forces without repeating history's darkest chapters. The quantum vacuum may hold up a mirror revealing not just the universe's secrets, but what lies in our own collective heart when offered limitless power. Cutting-edge labs are quietly rewriting the rules of energy physics, not with colossal reactors, but by coaxing reality itself into revealing its hidden potential. At the forefront, teams at Chalmers University in Sweden manipulate quantum fields using superconducting circuits cooled near absolute zero, their breakthrough, demonstrating how microwaves can temporarily tame vacuum fluctuations, creating pockets of coherence in the quantum foam. It's as if they've discovered the universe's hidden control panel, where subtle adjustments to electromagnetic fields momentarily calm the chaotic dance of virtual particles. Meanwhile, the Max Planck Institute has taken this further, using laser arrays to generate measurable forces from pure vacuum energy, an effect once relegated to theoretical papers, now humming quietly in a Munich lab. These experiments echo prophecies buried in obscure occult texts. The Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor's 19th century manuscripts predicted an age of radiant power where humanity would harness the light between atoms. Nostradamus' often misinterpreted quatrain about golden apples beneath the temple aligns suspiciously with modern toroidal plasma containment designs. Even more striking are the Hopi prophecies of a fifth world powered by invisible threads of the Spider-Woman, a metaphor that quantum physicists might use to describe the zero-point field's interconnected web. The convergence grows more tangible with each passing year. DARPA, Quantum Energy Harvesting Initiative, explores metamaterials that extrude usable energy from vacuum fluctuations, while private ventures like Breakthrough Energy Sciences test devices claiming to structure the quantum vacuum using precisely engineered geometries. Skeptics dismiss these as fringe science, yet peer-reviewed studies in journals like Physical Review D now seriously model vacuum energy extraction through dynamic Casimir effects, where rapidly moving mirrors convert virtual particles into detectable photons. Occultists whisper of an impending tipping point, not just technological, but perceptual. The Emerald Tablets promise that humanity shall awaken to the fiery breath beneath their feet, finds eerie resonance in quantum biology research suggesting our DNA might function as fractal antennas for zero-point energy. Tibetan lamas speak of a coming age of Vajra light, where advanced meditation techniques will merge with energy technologies. Whether through lab-coated scientists or robed mystics, the message is the same. We stand at the threshold of recognizing that the void isn't empty, it's alive with creative potential, waiting for us to learn its language. The most profound research unfolds where these paths intersect. At Stanford's Fringe Science Division, engineers collaborate with veteran remote viewers to test if consciousness can influence zero-point energy extraction rates. Early results show statistically significant anomalies when meditators focus on experimental setups, as if intention itself momentarily stabilizes quantum coherence. It's a modern validation of what alchemists called the marriage of sun and moon, the fusion of rigorous measurement and expanded awareness that might ultimately unlock the universe's greatest secret, how to converse with the infinite. Zero-point energy exists in that extraordinary space where cutting-edge science shakes hands with ancient mysticism, a bridge between the equations of quantum physics and the visions of seers who sensed the universe's hidden pulse long before microscopes could prove it. What makes this phenomenon so captivating isn't just its potential to revolutionize energy systems, but how it dissolves the artificial divide between matter and spirit. The same equations describing vacuum fluctuations could easily be pulled from an alchemist's notebook. Just swap electron volts for prana and quantum fields for the astral light. This duality isn't coincidence. It's a clue that we've been circling the same profound truth for millennia, armed with different vocabularies, but chasing the same shimmering mystery at reality's core. Think about where you've encountered echoes of this energy before, that tingling sensation when entering an ancient temple or standing beneath a towering pyramid. Could be the acoustics, or it might be your body resonating with structures designed to amplify zero-point energy, those moments of déjà vu where time seems to stutter. Potentially more than glitches in memory, may be fleeting interactions with the quantum field's holographic nature, even the uncanny accuracy of intuition, the inexplicable synchronicities. What if these are personal experiences of the zero-point field's interconnected fabric? The evidence surrounds us, woven into daily life as subtly as the hum of a refrigerator you only notice when it stops. But here's where the real adventure begins. Everything you've just explored, from Tesla's forgotten experiments to yogic masters harnessing Kai, is merely the threshold. Imagine what happens when we collectively take the next step, decoding how consciousness sculpts this energy, or discovering practical ways to stabilize its flow. This isn't passive knowledge, it's an invitation to participate. Try this tonight. Hold your hands a few inches apart and focus on the space between. That faint warmth or magnetic pull isn't imagination. It's your biofield interfacing with the quantum vacuum. You've just become part of the experiment. The conversation doesn't end here. If this glimpse into zero-point energy lit up your curiosity like a plasma globe, then part 2 will blow the doors wide open. We'll dive into hands-on techniques, sacred geometries that structure energy, meditations to amplify coherence, even DIY experiments that walk the line between science and sorcery. Smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the next chapter goes deeper into the void than you'd ever imagined possible. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, start noticing where the universe whispers its secrets in your everyday life. That static spark from your sweater, the way streetlights flicker as you pass, the answers hiding in